Hey, 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 welcome back. Look at my hair. Welcome back to the Virgo Channel. Don't mind me. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Laura. I'm going to do a general message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Roles can be reversed. Just interpret the message as it best resonates with you. Also know on this channel and all my channels, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I look at everything, but we take more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, to see how they play out as karmic themes, to help you understand why everything's playing out the way that it is. We tend to get stuck in the story of why things happen. And that really can keep us in a bad energy. So if we at least understand why things are playing out the way that they are, we can change the dynamic of the connection by doing something different. And that's really what it's about. Healing is just seeing a different perception of your situation. When we're stuck in a karmic situation, we tend to associate it with something negative, but it doesn't necessarily mean negative. It means learn, which is why we're here. We're here in the physical form to learn that there's no separation between us and our creator and the universe. We have the sun and the stars and the moon inside of us. Well, we also have spirit inside of us. That spirit is prana, it's air, it's spirit, because God is ubiquitous. So when we are healthy, we're clear of spiritual blockages, and spiritual blockages that are held in the body as stress, and that affects our physical. So everything happens in the spiritual realm before it actually manifests in the physical realm. So really, by the time that you actually see things happening, you've been holding on to a block for a long time, right? So, we have the potential to learn and heal, and that's what this channel really is about. So I look at everything because we want to know whether or not that person still has feelings, even if we don't have feelings. Everyone has an ego part of self. That's normal. We want to know, and when the ego is satisfied, which is very rarely, we'll we are able to really be able to not get caught up in our emotions. So we want to stay balanced, and we can stay balanced through incorporating spiritual health, spiritual hygiene into our life, and that's shadow healing and doing stuff like that. And so this is a fun way to do shadow readings. So for those of you that don't know, I have a shadow healing coaching program. You can check it out. It's in the description box. And the new outer spirits are out. As you can see, I'm wearing all abundance bracelets because this is the year it's going to happen. Okay? That's the year it's going to happen. I'm putting it out there. The intention is out there. You guys will get 15% off. And I will have the link there. This is for Black Friday sale. All right. The word of the video is grounding. Grounding, and we're going to pull another. And narcissism. So I feel as if you've been in connection with someone that is unfortunately a narcissist. And, and the thing is, excuse me, when you think about this person, you get angry. Like this person has the potential to trigger you and does trigger you. It's because they're not emotionally intelligent. They don't want to be transparent. Narcissists only care about themselves. They care about control. And I feel like you took your power back. You took your power back, and as long as you're grounded, you're going to be okay. But I feel like you've been grounded. And that means working on a business or just hanging out with friends more, just trying to do more so you're not thinking about this person, because that they are a narcissist, and that narcissist control by emotionally trying to get underneath your skin, and you're not falling for it. So we're going to see what is that making this person do. And it's not so that you should run back with this person, but we want to know just what does it make this person, what does it trigger inside of them? Because you're not reacting. Spiritual awakening. Now, like I said, like ESP, I always say ESP is through the heart and mind, spiritual connections. So, like I said, you can be connected to a narcissist and not be a narcissist. It's the trauma of whatever you lived. If you lived with a parent that was a narcissist, if you dated someone previous that was a narcissist, it's that trauma will continue to play out within your life. And so it'll trigger things like, I don't have control. I'm not safe, right? When a narcissist, it's all about them. Paranoid. But as long as you're grounded, well, this person's not going to be able to do anything to you. Making changes for the better. So a spiritual awakening, it's not uncommon for a person to start to do things differently. And it's, people got to heal eventually. Past life karmic mates, like you said, we tend to associate them with bad, but sometimes it's in this lifetime that the person actually awakens. And they awaken because, hey, it's their time. They lost you in previous lifetimes. There's other karmic lessons that this person has to learn. Twin flame journey. Again, that it's a past life connection. And twin flame is all about helping to transmute those karmic wounds, those ancestral karmic wounds of pain, fear, right? And think about what your ancestors went through. Then think about the actions and behaviorisms that they had to create, and then how they acted towards you and how they dealt with life in general, and then what you inherited. And so you may say, well, I struggle with anxiety. I struggle with, addiction. I struggle with, you're going to see shadows. You're going to see them. You're going to see and it's the twin flame journey makes people step into a better version of themselves. Love does that. Because love is God. Love is the energy. It's the universal panacea. You inspire me in so many ways, which again, the twin flame is always the muse. You know that because again, the person has to step it up. They were on a low vibration from those traumas and just living from a lower vibration. And when you're not letting this person control you, what's there is still love. That's the only thing that remains. It doesn't mean that this person didn't get triggered and didn't get mad. No, they put every obstacle in the book that there was. It's not that they want to give in to this. They're fighting. The runner becomes the chaser becomes the runner. I'm afraid of losing you. And that's really what it's come down to now at this point. And the reason why is because you're not putting up with it. You're just not. You're just like, I'm not dealing with it. So we'll see how this person's dealing with it. And sometimes you don't see, the best things. What you see is, well, this person has a lot of burdens from past either relationships or just bad decisions, right? People that have a lot of spiritual blockages from the ancestral karma. When we're talking about addiction, we're talking about, do they show up for themselves? Meaning, do they take care of themselves on a physical level, on a financial level, are they capable? No, they're usually very codependent. And so Spirit's saying it's like the burdens come from the codependent past previous relationships, which they don't like to deal with. they usually run to somebody else. And guess what? They're not able to run to you. And so this person is, of course, no one's going to help me with this. No one's going to help me with this, because that's what, needy. That's codependency, where really it's that a person just doesn't feel good. It's not fair. The person doesn't feel good because they're not grounded. You're grounded, but they're not grounded. And that's the thing. When a person is codependent and they're not trying, and it's because you're making them do that. And so they're faced with the consequences of whatever the relationship was, the previous relationship was, whatever the situation was. That this person that has ancestral karmic wounds that just are self-sabotaging. That we don't know exactly how, but when we see victimization, we're going to see shame. We're going to see, but is this person doing anything about it? No, they're not. They're the victim, and you're not saving them. And they're, not grounded. You're grounded, though. You're like, I see everything. You're not going to trick me. You're not fooling me. Again. So what happens is the addictive behavior is impulsiveness. This person doesn't really know what they're going to do because they're emotional and they've never done the healing work. So again, they're stuck facing their consequences. They can't run to you. You're not taking it anymore. They thought that you were a sure thing. And that could have just been because of the connection. Niceness for weakness. Those self-righteous people, but really it boils down to this person. Before they could be in the twin flame journey, they have to do the inner child healing. That's what Spirit says. But again, now they're in a place where they're afraid that you would reject them, which again, we see the runner becomes the chaser. It's not uncommon. Now they're again going to be in a place of sadness. So you see with the awakening, the spiritual awakening, there's always a tower. And again, where this person is forced to look at their bullshit, and you're making them do that. It's like you might not have known that that's what you're doing, but you played a part in it. And when the twin flame journey, it's source that is in control. That Spirit saying, well, this is your person. You might be like, that's not my fucking person. That's not my fucking person. And Spirit says, yeah, well, you need healing. So we're going to see why that would be your person. Because you're like, well, they're fragmented. The Spirit says, well, I don't know if you notice they're going through a spiritual awakening right now. So they're healing, whether they want to or not. And that's because they have burdens. They have a lot of shit in their life that they can't just run to somebody else. They're not going to just run to somebody random. They would run to someone strong, someone that has all the ingredients, which you're that person. But the thing is, you're grounded. You're like, I see everything. I see everything. So, and I'm not taking on that karma. That's your karma to deal with. So that's why this person is forced to deal with it, because they can't come to you because you're saying no. It's like you're going to deal with that yourself. So again, now they're actually like asking Spirit, like going to God, because that they hit rock bottom, a spiritual awakening. And that's when you know that the tower moment has happened, which nothing that's real is going to be like stand. So anything that was based on a facade, like a lie, was shady, had devil energy to it, like the universe came in and went, whoosh, took it all down, and this person's standing there and they're looking around and there's nobody and nothing, but there's you. And you're like, don't look at me. And this person's like, like really wants to try and explore the unknown, and like, trying to like get the courage up. And listen, these are the fucking shadow cards, and they're usually ugly cards, and these are all good cards. Like this person really wants to do it, where I feel like you're like, I'm over it. Like, fuck you. I'm done. It's again, I don't trust you. Like, I feel like they're going to have a looming agenda. Like, I feel like now we're mismatched. Now I don't really, you know, now I really don't want that, which is what I feel is coming from the majority of you, which understand that's usually what happens, where, you know, now this person's going to have to work. They're going to have to work, to like get back into your life, which means they're going to have to open up their heart. Where, because Spirit's saying, well, I had to push it to that point because this person is greedy, they're selfish, they're, low energy, they have a closed heart, those inner child wounds, it's been in there a long time, that stagnant energy. It's like, so of course you got to be like, I don't want this shit now. I don't want this, where this person can like terrorized by it, like it's bringing up like all their fear. Where you're like, I don't even think I'm passionate for you anymore. Which is because you were so childish. Where again, you're afraid that this person like is gonna like pull a fast one, but this person's like, no, they really feel like it's again that it's a divine union. So, like I said, I feel like you're going to give this person a run for their money. It's not like you're not going to like just let this person back into your life. Now, we'll pull, because listen, it's a collective reading. So, some will take this person back, some won't, but the majority of you are like, oh, I'm like so over it. Like it's just so over it. Well, I feel like, in this story, there's a sense of being in it for the long journey. I got to tell you, if this person can prove themselves and they go the distance for you, you'll take this person back, because underneath it, there was unconditional love. But they're going to have to do the work. They're going to have to prove again, or it'll be very likely, Spirit says, that they go back. It's a twin flame connection. So we'd be like, okay, so then why does my shit look so fucked up? Like, why is that person my mirror? Like, what is going on here? That it's like, did I get the broken one? Like, did I get the IKEA brand? I have to put it together, like build a bitch, or build a man. Like, what is this? Like, well, did I get the wrong kind? And Spirit says, well, that's what a spiritual block will feel like. It'll feel like, no, like it just doesn't work out for me. Where the Spirit says you can have whatever it is that you want. It's you that thinks that. You're like, I don't think it. It's just what happens. And Spirit says, what's happening is because it's what's going on inside. We have to change the inside to change the outside when you don't like that. And so we have to say, well, what creates that? Well, belittled, nurturance, time and attention, rebellious, disassociation, misunderstood. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6. Perfect. So, growing up in an environment where you're not really nurtured, like there's like parents work, they're busy. It's not that they don't love, but parents love you the best way that they know how. They're dealing with their own traumas, and ancestral karma is kind of like how we were taught to talk to each other. We take that for granted, but did our parents speak nice to us, or did they kind of speak down to us? Did they, did they curse at us? Did they, how did they treat us? And what it says here is like belittled is a little bit like bullying. So when you have like a mom that does that to you, that like kind of bullies you, well, then it's almost like the karmic pattern is I get people that just bully me. They just don't like me. They just start for no reason because it's like that fear. You'll continue to see that karmic theme. So no time and attention when it came to nurturing. So, like you have to build intimacy. So if your parent was like avoidant because they were wrapped up in their own stuff, or they were anxious, so they were too smothering. Either way, we usually see either they don't do enough or they do too much. And they never really do like balanced. And it's not a blame game, but we have to understand where does the imbalance come from? Why would I ask the person that's that imbalanced? Because there's only two energies, love and fear. But mine doesn't look like that. And where I play games and I'm mean and I do like things, and spirit says, no, but you attract that. And it's again because of the bully, where again you were made to feel like misunderstood, like when a parent doesn't make you feel comfortable or an authority doesn't make you feel comfortable, like you're like, I don't know, like I always feel like I'm being taken the wrong way. So being uncomfortable in your body, being uncomfortable around a parent when you're a kid. Well, a kid can't run away. They're going to detach, they're going to disassociate. So they know, yeah, that parent is not trustworthy, but it's like I have to be around them, but I'm kind of, I'm spaced out. I'm detached. I'm in daydream land. It's like that's how they disassociate. They go into the imagination because they can't run away. The problem is that those experiences that they were in daydream land, they don't remember. So those parts are fragmented. So they become repressed energy, not even suppressed energy, but repressed. You didn't even know that they're there. So you're like, I just keep attracting like people that are in balance, like where people like again are the bully, because they don't, people that are supposed to love me and nurture me, they're mean to me. They're, there's that energy. And so it's a karmic like theme that you'll see continue to play out, which is what makes you feel like there's something wrong when there's really nothing wrong. It's that you haven't integrated the spiritual lesson. So you're like, well, what am I supposed to do when I continually get these people? And spirit says, well, you have to handle it differently, and you handle it differently by obviously, like setting boundaries, but not letting it affect you is the big one, which is really hard to do. And that's been like a karmic theme. However, spirit says, well, you have to see beyond your immediate fears, like elevate your perspective. So like seeing things more through a spiritual perspective, like, well, hurt people. And maybe it's not about me, it's more about that person. And then spirit says it's the way that you deal with it. It's that when you deal with a bully that's, like not in a certain way, then that's how they can read you and be like, oh, I'm going to do it more to you because I know that you don't like it. So it's almost like that's how this person was like in the beginning. Like, I know, like I can get what I want because you're nice. Where that person misread you. It's not that you're not nice, but when it came to this energy, until you actually embody a new consciousness, you haven't fully cleared that energy. Your mind can say, I know that no one's going to beat me up or bully me. So it's like, I know that, but spirit says, you need to go through the test. It's again in order for it. And the first is to rise above, to see it through a different perception, look at it differently. You always look at it like you're still the kid, like you don't have control. And that's why you went through this situation, because what you showed this person is, I am in full control. And Spirit says, now you embodied the situation. And Spirit says, divine timing, everything. And we always see that with twin flame connections, that everything's happening. Time that Spirit has a plan for you, and it's unraveling and unfolding. And like, it's, you might say it's behind schedule, this, that. And Spirit says it's not. It's like you don't feel supported. It's like, but it's be grounded. It goes back to being grounded, and having to deal with this person. You became very grounded. And so, again, you are actually embodying that energy, which is what Spirit needed you to do. And then says, now take big steps that push you out of your comfort zone. Act decisively. If there's still a sense of, oh, people like bully me, people, Spirit says, you're not seeing yourself the way that I see you anymore. You had to go through this experience to embody the new consciousness and see yourself differently, but that's one experience. Now go out into the world and live from that consciousness, that you're a strong person, that you just saw yourself, not be bamboozled, that, that no one can steal your energy, that no one can, that you're going to stand your ground. And getting what you want is also, and if that's this person to come back and apologize, well, guess what? You're getting that. Where Spirit says that whether you wanted that or not, you might have wanted this person just to come back and apologize. And Spirit says, either way, you're going to get that. Because, again, you're grounded, but you needed to go through this situation. And this person obviously needed to go through this situation in order for the tower to come down, right? Then Spirit says, now be vulnerable, which doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to go back in the relationship. But vulnerability is all about trust. And it's a second chakra issue, and the twin flame connection, is all about, birthing something, the passion, that in order to transmute those blocks. It's not just about learning in the mind, but it's actually a physical thing. And it's also about creation, where Spirit says, embrace your authenticity, which I feel like is what you do. And that's why this person admires you. It goes back to, remember, it said this person thinks in their mind that they admire you. You're making them become a better person. It's like, it's not that they wouldn't have done it on their own. And they certainly wouldn't have done it if you were nice about like the situation and just gave them whatever they wanted. They wouldn't have done it. They had to kind of get pissed off and not want it in order to be like, I don't not want it, but they had to get pissed off to realize, oh, I still have feelings for you, even though I'm pissed off and I'm not going to get my way. They had to go through an experience like that, because I think that this person happened to be very cocky and really didn't care, and that the reason why is because, well, it never cared before. There's never a twin flame connection before. The divine's never been, had a hand in a connection before. So Spirit says, no, because it was never time for, transformation, and because before, this person controlled everything. And now they've come to a place of surrender where it's about them learning how to flow with grace, meaning learning how to go with the flow of life through the passion for life. And that's activating that second chakra, which is, they had to obviously clear a lot of root chakra issues before they actually could be in this connection with you. So, and we see why you attracted that person. It's not like you're shady. It's that you had fragmented parts of yourself from a parent that was, not really that nice, or you perceive them as not really being that nice, being a little afraid of them. And so, again, not coming from your bold and beautiful self, where Spirit's saying, live authentically, be vulnerable, be true, be authentic. Don't not be that, because that's a beautiful part of you just because of that person, like embrace it. Where sometimes we grow up with a parent like that, we're kind of detached and disassociated, and we don't realize. So we become a magnet for people that have the opposite energy, which is narcissistic energy. People that want to control, people that want to dominate, but don't want to be like that. And that's the thing. This person saw you as docile and soft and this, and then they saw you as completely like so strong, where they were like saw that change. And I don't think that they've ever witnessed that before. They're usually, get people that give in and are doormats or are toxic, where you're very nice, but you showed strength through not, acting toxic, like you said. So it made this person look at themselves and push them. But this person also is helping you transform, which is what the twin flame connection actually does. So when we're like, that person can't be my person, Spirit says that's your person. It's like, well, why does it look like that? And Spirit says, because you're looking at it like, oh, they're not. You help them clear out their wounds. You both had wounds in the same chakra, where one person has an overactive second chakra, and the other has an underactive second chakra. And so this person is real comfortable in the physical body, and you're detached, a little detached from the physical body. Like, it doesn't really feel that good. So understand the balance. Twin flame comes together to teach balance. So it's not someone that we would pick. We wouldn't normally pick them. Like, our mind would actually be like, that's not the person. And Spirit says, no, but when the source has that person, it's because there's certain lessons. It's again the dynamic. It's the dynamic of the connection. And it's one that neither party has control over, and that there is unconditional love, but they're gonna trigger the shit out of you. They're gonna make you crazy. And so we end off with one more, and that's listen to life. I am attentive to the world around me. Signs and symbols guide me to success. I listen and discover the way to eternal. So it's all about listening to yourself intuitively. And the twin flame journey is kind of like that. There is obviously a balance, but that's what you're learning. And I feel like, as long as you're true to yourself, which it showed that you are, Spirit says, remember, the twin flame comes back, but they're not 100% healed. You have to hold to a standard when you're a twin flame, like meaning like you have to stand in your divine energy, so that that person, like sees the boundary. They're kind of teaching them. So it's almost like I said, you're the muse. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not going to help you in other areas, but we can see where you're helping them. And that's really what this reading was, to explain to you why they act the way that they act. Why, what can you do to change it? And really, it's like, keep doing what you're doing, but know that there's a reason why you're going through it. You're not just going through it randomly. You're going through it so that you could evolve. And a lot of times the twin flame journey, I have to be honest with you, it's not a lifetime. It's too difficult. It's because it's such a powerful connection. Think of Ike and Tina, Sonny and Cher, and the list goes on. They were twin flames. That way, you think that, like the Sonny and Cher. Sonny was like half Cher's size, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? It's like, that she did not pick him, but they ignited the music that birthed, you know, her career. Really, there was a reason why, and it was a divine reason. It's something that they stayed friends, but they had a tumultuous to Ike and Tina. We saw that. Oh my God, that was horrible. And Ike was horrible, and it like to Tina, but she loved him, and that was a twin flame connection. It's like, and it birthed her career. It's like because he was that shady, I don't know, manager, whatever the hell he was doing, but we saw like he wanted the competition, he wanted him to do his music. So you see a little bit of that with the twin flame journey, you do, because you're dealing with two people that are not really healed. It's like they're striving to heal, and both parties are holding to a certain standard, and that's why it's such a difficult connection. So, you know, but this person's going to try. And let me tell you, in the twin flame journey, also, a lot of times you just can't say no because you really have that unconditional love for that person. And so spirit says it's all to help you with healing so you can evolve into the highest state of consciousness, which is unconditional love, so you can really pull in a soul partner. And a soul partner is someone that you love, and it's not that there's not the tests. There are tests, but the difference is that the person, you're not dealing with a person that has all the same wounds that you do, and that is holding up that mirror and is triggering, and that there's love and passion and makes you feel all these different emotions. Like, you don't have that with a soul partner. A soul partner, it feels nice, it feels relaxed, it's easy. It's like, and there is love, but it's like a sweet love. It's not like that crazy, love, which is not healthy. That, like, I mean, twin flame, that's a fine line between love and hate. Remember that. That's why they say love makes you crazy. Well, twin flame connection will make you crazy. So you really have to be grounded. And that's why that was the word of the video. As long as you stay grounded, and you might be, hey, that's fucking impossible for me because I'm disassociated, I'm fragmented. And spirit says, yeah, exactly. That's why you're getting this person, because they're going to make sure that you're grounded, you know, and you're going to make sure that they hold to a certain standard of ethnicity and emotional availability. Otherwise, you're not going to tolerate it. So understand, both energies are uncomfortable, from both parties. And you're like, well, that doesn't make sense. And spirit says spiritual issues don't make sense. It was the dynamic that they grew up in. It was the dynamic that you grew up in. That's why the wounds are old. That's why you're getting the twin flame. That's why source is involved. And that's why everything's happening during divine time. Spirit says, so you can, be angry and not be with this person. And you can, or be with this person. You can make it easy on yourself, or you can make it hard. But you might say, I'm not going to be with that person. But there will always be a part of you that wonders what it would be like, and would desire that part of a relationship, because it would be a good relationship, and that's what life is, to experience. And spirit says, so you might say, no, I'm too afraid. And spirit says twin flame has a way of, coming back and really chasing to make sure that they get what they want. Understand, they're just the same stubbornness that they use to, run from you, is the same stubbornness that they're going to put to make sure that they have you. It's again, and you're like, in a million years, I would never believe it if I didn't see it. And the spirit says, it's the power of the divine, it's the power of love. It's like love makes people do things that they normally wouldn't do. I'm going to leave that there. If you resonated, give it a like. It's good karma. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.